The Eagles have some big decisions to make, as one surprising young defender might be in trouble this summer if he doesn't step up, while the Jalen Carter contract situation has turned into a huge dilemma, especially after the most recent news. Plus, Jihaad Campbell just made a big change, while Jonathan Greenard is ready to prove the Eagles made the right decision, and Jalen Hurts and Sirianni are set to prove it again and shut the media up in the process. So let's talk about all that and more starting right now. Well guys, the number 11 is officially back in Philadelphia, but don't worry, it's not the last guy who had it. I mean, he's long gone, and at this point, I have no interest in looking back.
You gotta move on.
That chapter is closed, and now a new one has just been opened, as yup, it's official, the second-year linebacker Jihaad Campbell will be switching from the number 30 he wore last season to number 11, which I think that's exactly what we all wanted. I mean, it just looks so much better, and is better fitting for a player of Campbell's caliber, because I mean, I'm expecting big things out of the second-year linebacker, assuming he stays healthy. Can't wait to watch him as a full-time starter this year, and his number should match his production. Like, that number 30 was fine, I guess, like I kind of got used to it, but 11's just a much cleaner look. Now we just gotta hope that that number is not actually cursed, because things didn't really end up so great for the last two guys who wore it in Philadelphia.
Wait, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Moving on though, it may be summer break for the Eagles, but that doesn't mean that they're not still hard at work in the gym, you know, individual training, workouts, just getting ready for training camp and this upcoming season. And guys, I've been in the gym too. I mean, ever since I moved into this new apartment about a month ago, I've been in the gym 6 days a week, just trying to stay locked in on my fitness goals. And I've also got my diet locked in for the first time really ever too. So, you know, just trying to really take my health seriously. And one thing that I've kind of looked into is, you know, supplements, daily supplements, just to get my necessary vitamins, minerals, and nutrients on a daily basis. Because I know for a fact there's a ton of things that I'm just not getting enough of. So that's why I was absolutely thrilled when the sponsor of today's video reached out to me, and that's Grüns. I mean, Grüns is a super convenient way to get pretty much all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that I need on a daily basis. And it's not just a multivitamin, a green gummy, or a prebiotic, it's all those things and more rolled into one for a great price. And what I love about it is it's basically like a little snack. I mean, I'm gonna eat one right now, give you guys my genuine reaction to this thing. So you can see here, it's like a little snack pack. All right, here's what one of the little gummies looks like. I'm gonna eat that. It's actually really good. I promise you guys, I could definitely eat this as like a little snack. Yeah, so again, tastes great. It's a little snack pack that you eat once a day, but also you're getting 20 plus vitamins and minerals, which is way more than your normal multivitamin, and 60 plus ingredients, which include nutrient dense and whole foods. Plus they're vegan, they're gluten free, and they just have so many other tangible benefits, whether it's, you know, better energy, better immunity, better recovery, which I personally really need. It helps with hair, nail, and skin health, and also even better gut and brain health, because they got these super mushrooms in them, which actually promote both those things. So again, it really is so much rolled into one. Personally, I know these are going to be super helpful for me on my fitness and health journey. And if you guys want all these benefits too, then you can click my link and get up to 52% off on Grüns. Just, you know, again, it's the link on screen. It'll be down in the description and the pinned comment. And thank you to Grüns for sponsoring today's video. Something I wish we could pretend didn't happen though is Jeffrey Simmons' extension, but unfortunately it did. As like I talked about in my last video, the Titans just extended their star defensive tackle to a 3-year, $105 million contract, which comes out to $35 million per year. And with that, the price tag for the Eagles to extend Jalen Carter just went way up. I mean, he and his agent Drew Rosenhaus will almost certainly be pushing for JC to become the new highest paid defensive tackle in the NFL. However, as Anthony DeBona pointed out, it is worth considering that Simmons is coming off a year where he had 11 sacks, while Carter has had just 13.5 sacks in his entire career, and he's also coming off an injury-plagued season. And at this current moment, right now in their careers, Simmons is the better overall player. Now, Jalen Carter has the potential to be a defensive player of the year one day, but so far during his career, he just hasn't consistently played at that level. I mean, at least not yet. So, this has created a huge dilemma where, you know, on one hand, the Eagles definitely want to extend Jalen Carter, but they've been hesitant reportedly because of health concerns and quote-unquote potential character concerns as well. Meanwhile, Jalen Carter, guaranteed, wants to be the highest paid defensive tackle in football, but his production just hasn't matched that of the other top guys in the league like Chris Jones and now Jeffrey Simmons just yet. So the Eagles may not want to pay him $35 to $40 million a year just yet, and it's created this weird stalemate where both sides probably want an extension to get done, but each side doesn't agree on what that looks like. So this whole situation definitely has gotten a lot more complicated. Now personally, I'm not worried. Like, I still think a contract extension will get done, it's just a matter of when. Like, do the Eagles take the risk and do it this offseason and give him that $35 to $40 million a season despite some of the concerns, or do they wait until next year and pay him after Carter hopefully has his best season yet in 2026, but also risk his price tag skyrocketing even further? I mean, it's definitely a tough situation to navigate, but if there's anyone I trust to handle it, it's Howie Roseman. And again, I'm not worried because at the end of the day, whenever it happens, I expect Jalen Carter to be an Eagle for years to come. One guy whose future is definitely much more uncertain, though, is second-year defensive tackle Ty Robinson. As you know, I just gotta say it, there's been absolutely no noise about the Vanilla Gorilla really since last offseason after he was drafted. Since then, he didn't really play at all as a rookie, and this spring, I can't recall hearing his name come up at all during the practices. In fact, the only time he was mentioned was in Brandon Lee Gouton's article, where he listed 6 losers from the Eagles spring practices, and Robinson unfortunately made that list. As Gouton said, quote, "Despite the fact that Jalen Carter did not participate in team drills this spring, thus creating opportunity for younger players to get reps higher on the depth chart, Robinson spent time working on the 3rd string defensive line next to Uar Bernard, who was never even played football before. It would have been nice to see Robinson, who turned 25 last month, mixing in with the starting defense, but the first team fill-in reps instead went to Byron Young. Gabe Hall also appeared to be ahead of Robinson on the depth chart. Seems like the 2025 4th-round pick could be in jeopardy of not making the Eagles' 53-man roster, or he could be a healthy scratch again even if he does make the cut." And that right there is definitely not what you want to hear at all. I mean, there was some real hype for Robinson after he was drafted in the 4th round out of Nebraska in 2025, given that the guy is an absolute freak athlete, and in college, he was a monster that could both rush the passer and stop the run, but I guess at the NFL level, at least so far, he just hasn't showed Vic Fangio really anything to warrant giving him a chance. Now that said, we are still very early on here, both in the offseason and in Robinson's career. I mean, we're talking about spring practices with no pads, no full contact, and Robinson is just going into his 2nd year, so there is still time for him to develop and start climbing up the depth chart, but the fact of the matter is, there is only so many roster spots to go around, and Robinson needs to show some promise and improvement to ensure that he sticks around moving forward, because if you look at the Birds' defensive tackle group, there's Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Jomo, and Byron Young, who, I think all those guys are pretty easily locks. But Robinson's at least got to beat out Gabe Hall, and then we know Uar Bernard is sticking around one way or another, whether they use an official roster spot on him or not. So this is a crucial training camp and preseason for Ty Robinson. He's got to show something, otherwise he could be in trouble. Moving on though, and sticking with the defensive line, I wanted to quick answer this question that I saw pop up on Twitter. This comes from Smitty Muse, and he asked, quote, "After having some time to think about it, do you think the Eagles should have tried harder to keep Jaelen Phillips?" And with respect to both Phillips and Smitty Muse, I think the answer to that question is pretty clearly a resounding no.
Not even close, bud.
Yeah, I mean, it's really no contest, and this is no disrespect to Phillips, because I think he's a great player. I enjoyed watching him while he was an Eagle, and he was a great fit in Vic Fangio's defense, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't worth it to pay him $30 million a season for a guy whose career high in sacks is only 8.5 back when he was a rookie in 2021, and also has been injury-prone throughout his career. And again, not saying Phillips isn't a great player, because he is, but the Eagles just got a guy in Jonathan Greenard who, in my opinion, is definitely better than Jalen Phillips. And on top of that, he's also cheaper, and they didn't really have to give up much in the trade to get him. In fact, the 3rd rounder they traded for next year is kind of irrelevant because they're just going to get a 3rd round compensatory pick back from Jalen Phillips leaving. So essentially, the Eagles drafted Jonathan Greenard in the 3rd round this year, and they got a cheaper, more experienced upgrade over Phillips. So this isn't even a question in my mind. Same way I don't even think it's a question that Jalen Hurts should be the Eagles franchise quarterback for years to come, but all of a sudden, there's all this talk and discourse about Hurts, what else is new, as the media is now framing this upcoming season, 2026, as a make-or-break year for Hurts, and saying that he's got something to prove, and I'm sorry, but I just don't buy into that talk at all. Like, I understand that Hurts isn't perfect, and maybe he doesn't always put up the flashiest numbers, but at the end of the day, the guy has gone to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them in his first 4 years as a starter, and the only thing he has left to prove now going into year 6 in 2026 is that he can get back to a 3rd Super Bowl and win another one, which is exactly what writer O.J. Spivey wrote in a recent article, and he and I can agree that the concept that Hurts still has something to prove, and he still has to prove himself this year, and if he doesn't, he's all of a sudden not going to be the starting quarterback in 2027, is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, for one, the owner absolutely loves QB1. Maybe more than anybody else, we know this. His opinion's more important than anybody's. And also, when you compare Hurts to the other top paid quarterbacks in the league purely from an accomplishments perspective, he's top 2. As Spivey wrote, quote, Hurts is underpaid and hasn't been in the top 10 of QB salaries for a while. Out of those 10 field generals, only Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, Jared Goff, and Brock Purdy have played in the Super Bowl. To go one step further, only Mahomes 3 times and Stafford have won it all. While some don't believe in merit, Hurts is way overdue for an extension, having been the only current starting quarterback other than Mahomes to start multiple Super Bowls. And when you think about it, like, it's nuts, because the reason that you pay quarterbacks big money is so you can go to Super Bowls and win Super Bowls, and Jalen Hurts has done that. Yet, you still got some people that aren't satisfied, and Spivey also made the point that if you do get rid of Hurts, you have absolutely no idea whether his replacement will even be good. In fact, it could take another 10 plus years to find a new franchise guy. You don't know. So it is a blessing that the Eagles have a guy like Jalen Hurts that has proved that he can win at the highest level, and us as a fan base, like, we just need to be grateful for it. I mean, I'm right there with Hugh Douglas, who, if you didn't see this, the former Eagle crashed out on his WIP co-host Joe Giglio in a conversation about the Hurts discourse.
It was Donovan the quarterback of the team when he was playing. It was on him. We helped him out tremendously, though.
That's the whole point of this. That's what I mean.
No, it's not. Okay,
you helped out Donovan.
Okay, it is. Okay.
I'm just trying to follow.
You got it. I'm tired of this conversation. I am so fucking tired of this conversation.
What are you doing?
Because I'm tired of this conversation. I really am.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Honestly, completely justifiable crash out from Hugh. Like, this entire conversation is just so ridiculous. Like, you got this dude, TJ Hashmanzada, who's a former Bengals wide receiver, throwing shade at Hurts, saying that he doesn't throw his receivers enough 50-50 balls, which is a hilarious statement because of the fact that it's simply completely untrue. In fact, Hurts is one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL, completing 64.4% of his passes on throws over 20 yards, having a 118.1 passer rating on throws over 25 yards, and being top 5 in the NFL there. And if you've watched Hurts play the past 5 years, you know that one of the things he does the most is throw 50-50 balls to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So the fact that this guy can sit there and say that seriously is just absurd. But hey, not surprised, because this is what the media does. They paint these false narratives about Jalen Hurts. They speak on things that, they don't have all the facts and information about. They just push these things out there that aren't even true, and it's insane. As for me, though, Jalen Hurts has nothing to prove. He's my quarterback, and I have no second thoughts about that whatsoever. And honestly, I'm rocking with Nick Sirianni as my head coach, too. And I know, like, some of y'all don't like Nick, and every time that I bring this up, I have to make it clear that a lot of the criticisms about Sirianni are warranted, and I myself agree with some of them. But at the same time, I think it's crazy to not appreciate and acknowledge the historic success that Sirianni has had in his time as the head coach of Philadelphia. And one of the things that makes him so perfect for this job is his ability to handle that insane pressure, which was highlighted in the recent article written by Michael Silver of The Athletic. I mean, it's no secret that Nick has gone through periods where the entire city of Philadelphia wanted him to be fired. And also, the team has gone through a lot of adversity in his time there, and he's been the guy in charge of keeping it all together, and for the most part, he's done a great job. I mean, Zach Bond said this, quote, "It's a lot of pressure. You could talk about the media, the fans, the expectations of the owner, all that. It takes a certain type of person to be able to handle all that pressure and deal with it and take shots when they're aimed at him and take shots when they're aimed at your team. He does all that, and he does a fantastic job." And then even further, his former player Zach Ertz, who was only coached by Sirianni for half of his first season as the head coach, said, quote, "His team meetings are elite, and he's kind of been a driving force behind the scenes because he's so intense about the details in the process. His superpower is just driving the team and weathering the pressure in that building, in that city, and putting an emphasis on the things that drive guys to be their best." So that is some extremely high praise. And in addition to that, the article praised Sirianni's insane attention to detail, his accountability, his ability to bring a team together, and his authenticity, which is another big reason why he's been able to be so successful as the Eagles head coach. As Nick himself said, quote, "F that. You've got to be you, especially in leadership roles, because otherwise people are going to see through it. I'm at work way more than I'm at home. I can't possibly carry a facade of being someone else for going on 6 years of a job. I'd have to be the best actor in the world." and multiple of his players praised his authenticity too. So, overall, I think this article is a great read. I recommend you go check it out. And overall, I think we have to start giving Sirianni credit because it's not a coincidence that he's been so successful in his first 5 years here. All that said, guys, I got plenty more Eagles content and coverage planned for, the lead up to training camp, which is in just about a month now, which is insane to think about. I am going on vacation in about a week, so I might slow down a little bit then because I don't want to be doing, tons of videos while I'm on vacation. But once I'm back, I'm going to be, full speed ahead. And also I got, this entire week ahead of me as well to make videos, do content. So if you don't want to miss anything, make sure you guys subscribe and turn on notifications. Also drop a like down below to show some support. It really does help me out so much. See if we get to at least 500 likes today. I would greatly appreciate that. And also hit the hype button because that helps me out a ton as well. Also, go check out Grunes. The link is down in the description, the pinned comment. Trust me, I think it's going to be huge for me moving forward in my fitness journey. So if you guys want to go check that out, you can do that. And also make sure you guys leave a comment just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you do want to watch another video going over a lot of other recent stories for the Birds, you can check this out right here. And now with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.